Okay, so we just got Visual Studio installed on your local machine. The next thing to do is how to find it and launch it so that you can actually walk through the tool. So if you click on your start button and then at the top here, we're gonna type in Visual Studio, right? And then there's going to be the primary app that we're going to use to launch into the actual tool. So I'm going to right click on that there, and I'm going to go ahead and in in my case it's already pinned, so I'm going to unpin it from the taskbar, and then I'm going to follow what you're doing, right? So you're going to want to say pin to taskbar. I'm going to right click again, and uh, that's on the start, and then we're going to put it also on the taskbar. So it's going to be in both places. So there's Visual Studio, the link, and then because we did it on both, it's also going to be on my pinned um, menu, right? So I'm just clicking on start. You probably know how to do this, but just to be thorough, we can then now launch into Visual Studio. So there are two ways to launch into Visual Studio. So I can right click on it, and usually depending on what you're doing, you don't have to run as administrator, but sometimes you want to be able to write code that's going to change the operating system, connect to files, go across the network, go across the internet even. And so in those instances, you might want to run as administrator. But for now, we're just going to say double click and launch into the tool. Once the tool opens, it's now going to be showing you all your previous projects. You're not going to have any the first time you run it, right? Um, Now, just to give you a high level understanding as to what you might want to be doing, usually going to want to go here. You're going to want to say create a new project. So if the project is not listed there and you need a new project, we're going to want to say create a new project. So I'll show you what that looks like. So when we come in here, we have the ability to search for templates. Now a template is going to be something that's a bit more advanced. It's like you want to do a specific type of project and you know the template that you need, and so Visual Studio will go off on the internet and get the template that you search for. But for what we need, everything's going to be on the local machine. So just to give you a high level here, there are multiple languages that you can code with. The popular ones are going to be JavaScript and C Sharp. I primarily focus for C Sharp when I'm coding. But you got TypeScript and the old school Visual Basic. No, this is going to be the Visual Basic .NET. All right, so that's the modern version. We can be targeting multiple platforms, like we can be doing Mac, Linux, iOS, right? Windows is what we're going to be focusing for today. And then you can be saying whether or not you want to be able to, be on a mobile or on the desktop. What kind of app is it that you want to build? All of this here is a filter that drives this section, what you can actually select here. So the kind of app that I want to run is definitely for Windows, but it's not for web. So let's try desktop. And so right now we're coming in, and we've got empty project. And that's going to be on Windows desktop. The same thing for the shared project. But what I want to do here now is very specific. So bear with me 1 second. It's not every day we code one of these. Right. So all project types. I want to a console. So let me go ahead and type console and see. Right. So again, as you type, it's doing a filter for us for the template. And what we want to do is we want to choose a console app. But let's just read through it first. We have the one for Visual Basic, so it says VB here. And then we've got one here for C Sharp. Now, in this instance, we're going to be looking at the C Sharp version. So let's go ahead and if we go for the first one, that's going to be able to run on other platforms. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But the workflow that we're going to be looking at is primarily going to be for Windows. And so we're going to double click on that one and then hit the next button, right? And so you're going to be prompted now with specific information to where you want to save the project and the name of the project. So I'm going to say this is going to be my console app, and so that changes the project name. It changes the solution name. So a solution is like a folder to house multiple projects. You can have one project, which is what we're going to do at the moment, but you could also in there have multiple projects as well, right? And then the .NET framework that we're targeting. So this is going to be good for what we're doing. This is the defaults, accept whatever default comes up. And then from there, we go ahead and create. And now we are in Visual Studio with a console project. That is what we're going to be using to work through the rest of this series. So I'm going to stop the video there, and we're going to pick things up in the next video.